Okay, we are live for the first time in like 3 months. No, it's been like 2 months. So let me make sure everything's working. Looks like it's okay. Test the chat. My YouTube chat is not working. Yo, what's up? How's it going? It also says the connection's bad. Let me look at my... I'm gonna try to close anything that's connected to the Wi-Fi here. Okay. Yo, what's up? How's it going? How does the bitrate look on your guys' end? Because it's saying unstable for me. Okay, YouTube chat is working. Perfect. We should be okay. Cool. All right, so today I want to work on Eavor, which I just released on Steam, because I got a lot of feedback, and there are some things that have been on the to-do list for a while that people pointed out that I should change, and I really want to implement those things. So I think the best course of action is to start by doing bug fixes and adding things that people wanted, and then just keep doing that, making the game better, because it's only in early access right now. So, yo, what's up, Earth to Mr. Saturn? That's a good username. I like that. Okay, I'm gonna share this quick in my Discord. If you guys aren't in the Discord, be sure to join it. I'm live streaming Eavor development. Cool. Okay, let's get started here. So I'm gonna look on my to-do list because I wrote down a bunch of stuff. Okay, so one of the first things I want to do is game jam in July. I don't know if I want to do it in July because, well, I don't know if I can say this. Well, no, I can say it because I think it was public. It looked like at the, what was it, the Germany Godot Con? They may have released the dates for the US Godot Con. And it looks like, this is all like, I don't know if this information is accurate, but it looks like it's going to be end of July. So I'm not sure if I want to do it then, but that would actually be fun. What if I did a game jam over Godot Con? So like while I was there, I could be working on it. That would be kind of fun. It would be super stressful. Discord link. Let me send it in the chats. Been teaching myself Godot with your tutorials. Just want to say thanks for sharing it. Yeah, for sure. Always happy to help people out. All right, so first thing I want to do is, well, first I guess I should do a quick commit here. Add dash dash all git commit dash m before Eavor version, we'll call it 0.1. I don't know. Git push. Just making a save state here. So I want to adjust all the damage. If I run this, I don't know if it's going to embed it. Well, yeah, it's okay. We'll do this. So there are... Oh, I need to run Steam. I forgot I connected it to Steam, so I have to have my client running. I'm listening to Monster Hunter music right now because I'm like super into Monster Hunter lately. I've been playing Monster Hunter Stories a lot, the newest one. I love it. All right, let's try this. So what we got here, what the heck? Why is the quit button so big? Let me fix that quick. What would it be? My main menu state. Interesting, that shouldn't be happening. Okay. Well, now it's normal size. What happened there? A lot of people wouldn't be able to do June. Okay. I think the best option is like early July. Then that's what it seems like. I guess that would be 2 big things in a month for me, so that's why I didn't want to do it. But honestly, it would be fine. And hoping I can make enough money from this game that I'll be able to do like a really big prize. I want to do like I want to do more than what I did last time, because I'm trying to think if I did like 150 for first place and then also did cash prizes for second and third, that would be good. Played Eavor. The only thing that bothered me was when picking up items from monsters, I didn't know what I was about to pick up. Okay, so that was on the list. Someone else recommended that, and I added it to the list, but I think... Oh, I don't get money from doing that anymore. I think that's a good thing. Well, because there was a couple reasons I did that. Also, I need to give this a theme. This was all temporary because I don't know how I want the settings to look yet. It depends on how much stuff I put in that menu. But what I was saying with the items, I kind of like the aspect of learning the game as you go. So like you have to pick up every item once to kind of know what it does. But I also feel like that doesn't really make sense. Because I would also like it if you could just, I don't know, get good at the game and make decisions more easily without playing a ton. Did you make everything in the game? Yeah, everything is completely made by me except the music. There's 2 artists I'm working with for the music. Yo, what's up? How's it going, Danny? So, what I was saying with the damage, someone also pointed this out, the damage doesn't feel impactful enough because as you get more powerful, you're just dealing damage like in the thousands, and I want that to kind of be like a big deal. Because like no items right now, if I do a hit, it's already 3,000, and I don't like that. So the first big change I want to make is some balancing with the stats. And that's going to be a lot of work. Can you code in Lua in Godot? I'm pretty sure you can. I think I've seen a plugin for that. Yeah, I'm sure someone's ported that. So I'm trying to think if I adjust all the stats. I guess first thing I want to do is look at my damage calculation algorithm, which is somewhere in here, this massive script. I guess I should zoom in if you guys want to read this. Well, I like keeping it here. Let me zoom in a bit. I think I can hide that. Okay, so damage, what is it called? Take damage? So my algorithm is health minus equals damage, which means this must be calculated somewhere else. Is it really calculated here? Yeah, here it is. So we set the raw damage equal to the damage value times the damage multiplier of the hitbox. Raw defense is equal to the owner's current defense times the damage reduction factor, which I actually don't know where this is. Oh, that's on the hurt box, I see. And then final damage is raw damage, which let's say it's 10 times damage value divided by damage value plus raw defense. I think the scales well, so I think just reducing everything by a percentage won't really matter. I've been watching your videos for a month now. I want to get into game dev. I'm a total newbie, and someone recommended me to learn Python first from Inventing Games with Python book. I think, I mean, either Python or GDScript, those are very easy languages to get into. So, I mean, either one's valid. Do you have a dev tool? So why don't you make a tutorial on making them? I do, kind of. That's a good idea. I should do a video on that. Learning Python going to help? Well, okay, so GDScript is a lot like Python, but learning Python to learn GDScript I feel like seems a little counterintuitive because you could just start with GDScript. But Python is a more, like you can use Python in more areas, I feel like, so maybe it would be good to learn Python, I'm not sure. I started with like Scratch and then went to whatever the game maker language is called, GMS or something. And then I went to Python, GDScript, stuff like that. First time viewer, sorry. Oh no, you're good. GML, yeah, that's what it is. Okay, so I think, I'm trying to think about this. If I just loop through and reduce all the stats by a specific amount, does anyone know, what's that? I've seen the plugin before. What's that plugin where you can view all of your custom resources as like a table? Because that would be perfect here. Bought your game on release, and the combat is very fun. Have you considered using Cursor since it's a VS Code fork with awesome AI integration? I'm not huge on AI, so I honestly haven't looked into Cursor. If it's, I mean, I've heard about it a lot. If it's like big on AI though, I probably won't be using it. Like I do use an AI assistant, but it's for very minimal stuff. Like I don't like just coding with it. Sort of Visual Basic and making websites in Dreamweaver. I don't know what you're talking about. I wish I would get into the web development thing. I'm just using Wix for my website. Highly recommend Cursor just for the sake of commenting, looking up information. Is it good on like asking questions about your code base? Because I guess that would be really helpful. What's that tool called? Godot plugin to view custom resources as a table. Yeah, exactly. Coding with AI. I mean, the thing with AI coding is if you don't know how to code, I would never recommend using AI because you're basically having something do it for you, and if you're not asking questions or you're not learning from it, then you're not getting anywhere. So I think coding with AI is like, it's okay if you already know how to code. Like the extent of what I use it to is like, hey, I don't know, I'm already writing a function and I want it to fill out the rest of the line so I don't have to type it. Or I want to generate a code comment quick. Like I use it for comments sometimes when I'm like, hey, what does this part do? I can just type a hashtag and then hit tab and it does exactly what I want it to do, which is kind of nice. But I don't like using AI to code, like build things. Yo, what's up, Tudor? How's it going? Do you think AI will still get better or has it plateaued? Honestly, I mean, it'll definitely get better still because people thought it plateaued last year and it got 100 times better. I think it can get better for sure. Having a function looking for resources, which I might look into Cursor. Yeah, that's the thing. If you use AI like as a tool and something to learn for, it can be good. Just don't have it do things for you, which is the same as like copying from a Reddit post or something. That's like the bad side of using AI. Yo, what's up, Tempura? How's it going? I haven't stopped by one of your and Bitlytics streams for a while. How's the game been going? What should I do as a beginner game dev? What should I work on first? Just start making small projects. That's probably the best thing my best recommendation. How's it going, Gunmetal? It's been a while. We're moving into a world where syntax coding will be less relevant since AI will do that for us. It's more important. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. Because it does seem like the more we progress with the AI coding, it's more of like explaining what you want and just having AI fill it in, which kind of sucks because at one point you have to like still develop the system behind it, but I don't like the idea of, I don't know, it just feels like AI is doing too much work. I'm not sure. Yeah, exactly. Less programmers, more. And like we've even seen a similar pattern, I feel like, with the optimization thing. Like nowadays you hardly need to optimize at all. Like you can write horrible code and it'll still work, but I feel like you're offloading so much work to just having the computer like do more work for you rather than back then if you had to code, you had to like really think about systems more and work with the, CPU a lot more directly and be a lot smarter with how you structure things. Chat's moving too quick. What do you think about asking AI to explain code? I think that's good. I actually haven't found a tool like this, but I would like if I could have AI look at my entire code base and have the ability to just ask questions and it would just search through all my files. I think honestly Copilot can do that, right? But I've never tried it, but I think that would be helpful. Anyways, I gotta get to work on this. So I'm trying to find that plugin. Edit resources as table. Is that what it's called? It's a Godot plugin. That's what I'm looking at. Edit resources as table. I'm just wondering if it works on latest versions of Godot. For always up-to-date builds, clone this. Let me check out the repo. Okay, so this was updated 11 months ago. I don't know if I want to do that. Let's just go through the resources manually. So ones I want to edit, and this is going to absolutely break my game while testing, but I think it's worth it. So basically we're looking at all the stats, and I'm going to multiply them by 0.1. And actually first, let me see if that calculation even works. So if I was to start in the woods, and this needs to be optimized a lot, which is my Terration plugin. Which, by the way, if you guys need a map generation plugin, check out Terration. How do I make pixel 3D models in Godot? The way I do it is I pre-render everything with pixel over. Okay, so on average, it takes about 5 hits to kill. So if I go to my lance, what is it, training lance, I think is what I called it. Yeah, training lance, I go to the numerical stats, just multiply the damage by 0.1, rate's 3%. So I think multiplying the damage by 0.1 is good. And then I would do the same for the Barkling stats. I just want to multiply their max health by 0.1. base damage would be, what is that, 30? Base defense, 13. All the movement values are okay. So let me try now. Oh, I should also do it with the driftwood, because there's a chance I could spawn with that. Also, I'm trying to brainstorm today how I can make the combat more like unique and interesting. Because what I already did was add like combos and different attacks, which you can kind of chain together in different ways. But I think it's still not enough, and you're also rewarded for kind of just staying out of the battle and being a coward. So I want it to be more of like you're in the battle, you have to dodge more, plan out your attacks more, kind of like more Monster Hunter-y. And I think the way to do that is reduce the enemies, make the enemies more difficult, but then give you more movement options. Let's see how this works, though. So I'm looking for a Barkling. And hopefully we still kill him in about 5 hits. And if we do, then I can just multiply everything by that, which would be nice. Forgot if there was one, but a parry mechanic with existing block would be... There is a parry mechanic. So because I have so many weapon types planned, like I want to add 20 plus weapon types, which, by the way, that's not overscoping because these are super easy to add. I want the parries to work differently per weapon. So with the lance, for example, the first 3 stab attacks, you have the option to go into a power guard. And the moment you go into it, you do a parry. And then with the sword, you can just right-click at any time to go into a parry. Okay, so my calculations are not good. So I'm thinking if I multiply the HP and defense by 10%, and then for the actual weapons, what if I went down a little bit? So I just want to see... Oh, you know what I forgot to do? It's the player stats. Because... Oh, not that. The player stats also get multiplied, so... This would be 500. 20 defense would be times 0.1, which is that 2.5. I want to start the player with 3 defense. I think that sounds good. No, we'll do 2. So how it works is the player's stats get added to the weapon stats. That way I can do augments that affect the weapon or the player, which I think would be helpful. What's the deal with the scene? I don't get it. It asks me to save a new scene when I press play after editing something I don't remember. Wait, what? It asks me to save a new scene when I press play after editing something I don't remember. Do you have a scene that's created and not saved as a file? Also, thanks for the follow. Oh, you know what? I need to pop up my activity feed because I haven't... I need to have that up. If you want more of an MH style for player, I'd recommend smaller weapon range. Okay. I think that's what I'll have to do is either... Because if I increase the enemy weapon range, or the enemy range, then I need to do slightly bigger maps, I think. But then again, I'm thinking, like, let's say you were fighting an Akiesto here, and it could hit, like, in this kind of a circle. I mean, the roll distance is good. Also, something I don't know if people noticed is with the dodge, you can also, like, it has iframes, so you can dodge through attacks without actually positionally dodging them, which I think is kind of essential because everything's so tight. 3, 4, 5. Okay, that was it. So multiplying everything by 10% should work. And what are my damage numbers looking like? Oh no, I can't kill the altar. Okay, I like that a lot more. But I feel like I could reduce it more. Because I'm trying to think, like, what if you start out the game and you're dealing, like, under 10 damage a hit? So should I multiply everything by 5%? Also, I need a collision check, because I don't like getting stuck on things like that. Although it hasn't been a problem yet. I feel like I do 5%. Also, I like the idea of the players starting with 100 HP. So then I would multiply defense by 5, I think. I want to see how much defense this gives me, how many hits I would die in. Will you add a scythe in the game? Yes. That's actually the next weapon I want to add, so good prediction. I really want to do a scythe. I also want to do throwing knives. I think throwing knives would be cool. Some more range stuff, maybe a bow. I'm not sure. And then I want to do like a hammer. Okay. I feel like that hit pretty hard. Well, no it didn't. I think my calculations are able to just scale directly. Like with just a multiplier for the stats. Which is really cool. That's very nice. So let's see how a power guard looks. How much did he deal? I didn't see it. 0. Oh, I need to multiply all the buffs as well. Only the big stat buffs. Okay. Okay. Also turned 24 on Saturday. Oh, Tudor, you're like a year older than me. Happy birthday. I'd love to have an axe with a whirlwind attack that drains stamina over time. That's a good idea. And I'm trying to think, I said, because I already have an axe. But it's used as a great sword right now. Or like a, yeah, I call it a great sword. So maybe I'll put the axe, like make it into its own playstyle. That would be a good idea. You need to show floating damage numbers, different colors for crits, damage types. The test should be floating upward and scaled down in size. Like, I already have floating damage numbers. And they also do different, they do, I have a gradient. So based on the percentage of damage you deal, it's a different color. And if it's a crit, it's also a different color. And it is a slightly different animation. Different classes. I want to have different classes, but I'm not sure. I need to balance the items and the weapons first, and then I'll see how classes fit in. But I want to do different classes. Also, the player is kind of temporary art right now, so I need to redo them. How long have you been working on this? Almost 3 years. And how did you find all the assets are made by me, so they're all custom. No, you're good. Maybe I should make them bigger. I don't know how easy they are to see on screen. I think they're pretty easy if you play the game, I guess, though. Something awesome about just spinning around and maybe release does knockback. Yeah, I'll definitely add that. Yo, how's it going, Daniel? What was I going to do? So all the other stats. So we need Birch Barkling stats. So max health would be 250. Defense would be 31. Or damage. Base defense is 20. I think that's it. Crit damage needs to be... I don't know why we have no crit damage on Birch Barklings. That's weird. Yeah, it's been a long time, but it's very part-time work. So hopefully, now that the game's on Steam, I'll be making enough to work on it more part-time before it releases. How do you write the coin? Oh, that's a cool trick. Like, you mean the percentages and stuff like this? It's, well, I could actually pull it up on stream here. I have a video on it too. It's like, I think it's called like All About Exports or something. But it's basically just doing a export range, and then you give it an extra property, which is the suffix, and you can do like a percent or a whatever you want. Okay, what did I already multiply? Birch Barkling's done, so then we'll go to Bakanawa stats. This would be 400. Defense is 42. Base damage is 42. Base defense is 15. Crit rate's 0.5. I liked having 0.1. Crit damage will do... I'm going to change... I also want to increase the speed of Bakanawa projectiles. That was something people kind of said they were too easy to dodge. Okay, base defense, 35. Base damage. Base defense is 6. Crit rate. Let's do a lower crit chance, higher crit damage. That's good. Yeah, you can do a lot of really cool stuff with export. I would just like open the docs for export properties and just read like everything, because there's some super neat things you can do, like really niche use cases. And I covered all of them in my video on it, which was like 2 years ago, and they've already added a ton of new stuff. Like, I don't think I covered export tool buttons in there, and now we have, what was the new export thing we got? Oh, I also wanted to cover the notify property list thing, which I made a recent video on, but I think that should be in like, maybe I'll do a new video. I need to do a better video on just all export stuff. Okay, all enemies are changed. Next we go through weapons, and this is why it's good. To put all of your resources in the same folder and keep your organization up. So I can just go into custom resources. What are they called? Items, weapons, and I just go through here. So ancient decimator, numerical stats, damage is 70. Knockback I shouldn't need to nerf because that's okay. 45, fragment bludgeon. Oh no. Oh, I didn't double click it. Why is the fragment? That should be hitting harder. These aren't even balanced. I need to balance all this stuff better. So that's 80. Okay, the antler is 65. I'm gonna actually, well, that's okay. I'm also going to make a DPS tracker so I can figure out exactly how much damage you're dealing based on 275 is 27. I don't like the idea of crits on enemy projectile attacks. It feels unfair. That makes the choice to tank something to dodge another attack feel very gambly. Crits on projectiles. I'll think about that. Because, like, logically, I feel like it would make sense. I'm assuming you're using a hitbox component. If so, is it attached to the individual weapon or the player? It's a little complex, so I'll show that in a second. Training Lance was already balanced. So now I look at my buffs. Custom resources, stat buffs. Okay, so we have to change all of the stat buffs. if they're multiplicative, I think. Ah, man. I want to test it. So the hitbox system, and yes, I do pre-rendered sprites, but if I ever do a second Eavor game, I'm going to definitely go 3D, because 3D, I can do lighting and stuff, and it's a lot better. If a Barkling deals 25 and a Snake deals 50, and you can't dodge both, I would rather take the 25. But if that 25 becomes 75 because of a crit, it's kind of stupid. So wait, are you saying I should take out all crits from enemies? Oh, also one thing I do need to change. You know what? Let me make a list really quick. Because of the fact that I want to have a list of everything I changed when I do this update. So that people can actually, you know, stay updated on what's going on. Gotta make a new... Oh my gosh, that's bright. Okay, we'll do update changes. And then we'll do a header, update 1. We'll list reduced all stats for all entities. Now, one thing I want to do really quick is reduce rate of deconsecration, because that's something that people noticed is deconsecration is really overpowered. And this is something that this would be reduced as more rare items are added, like as more red items are added. But I think deconsecration should still be like not that crazy, because you're going to be hitting more the more items you get anyways. So maybe we just half it. 0. Or wait, did I say half it? Yeah. Because it's at 1%. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. So for buffs, it should be telegraphed if kept. Crit should be telegraphed. Well, I do like the fact that you can crit randomly, like if you're the player. So I want to keep that in. Maybe I should just take out crits from enemies. But then that's the thing, if I take out crits from enemies, some items, like some augments, are based on crits. So I've already kind of run into the problem where some augments can only be used by the player. Like, for example, some enemies don't have a dodge or like a mobility skill. So the Mermaid's Gem only works on Barklings and the player. And for things like the Crow Cloak, enemies can't fast dodge. So Crow Cloak only works on the player too. How much damage is that dealing? Okay, that's still okay. Did I not multiply the Birch Barkling? Okay, what's going on with this? So the Birch Barklings are not balanced anymore. What did I break? Is it the defense? Because what do we have? 129. Do they just have too much HP? Let me open the scene. It's not something with the scene, is it? Oh, it is something with the scene. All depends on how you want to deliver information to the player. Yeah. And honestly, since the crit rate is so low, or the crit damage is so low, I feel like, because like crit enemies have what, around 20% extra crit damage. So if you're taking like 10 damage and it crits and you end up taking 12 damage, I feel like that's not that bad, and it adds variety. And I would want to keep it in just for the fact that if you see an enemy with like 10 rogue cores, you know they're going to crit. Yeah. I think it's not that unbalanced right now, so I think I'm going to just keep it in and see how it progresses with the items, but I mean, it's good to keep in mind, like maybe just removing, I don't know, we'll see. I think this was an issue with inherited scenes, but I should check the other ones, because if they're not using, okay, yeah, they're good. So next I gotta look at Dragon's Tooth, which is an augment, and it has its increase factor curve, and this is just flat. So I need to kind of think about everything in my game now. Yeah, so see, this is an add-end. So you know what? I'm gonna do augments in a second. One thing I forgot about was the altar. And the altar needs to have, we'll do 500 health and 10 defense. Okay. And then I'm also just going to search for stats components. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Gold idol. I forgot about the gold idol. Treasure chest doesn't have HP. Multi-chest doesn't have HP. Okay. It's fine, you can keep it, and you can give at least an effect when the player gets hit by a crit. Maybe I should add more of an effect, because the size, color, and speed of the damage number changes with crits, and it has a different sound effect, but I feel like it should maybe be more prominent. Maybe I have like a slash effect, or like a crack or something. Okay, all the enemy stats were adjusted. So I'm going to look at buffs, which this is going to be very irritating. So Akiesto gains defense when in the air, which is a multiplier. So that's okay. Luckily, I'm saving these all as resources. This is the reason you save all your custom resources as their own files, so you can do stuff like this. Just look through them quick. Akiesto's speed buff or run buff is a multiplier. Speed buff is a multiplier. So those are good. Mermaid's Gem. Okay, this is an add-end. But it's a speed add-end, so I don't need to do that. Barkling doesn't have any buffs. Player roll buff is a... Player roll buff? Okay, we're gonna keep that hidden. Nobody saw that. Nobody saw that. Okay, greatsword, blocking, defense, multiplier, movement speed, multiplier, multiplier, multiplier. All multipliers are good. So, where's the lance one? Where's the lance? Aha! It's not saved. So I just said that everyone should be saving their resources, and I'm not even saving mine. So let's save these. Resources, custom resources, stat buffs, weapons, lance, And then we're going to call this Lance underscore, what did I call it? Def stance underscore move speed underscore debuff. And then we do the same thing for this, except we call it Lance def stance underscore defense. Oh my gosh, I cannot type. Buff. Cool. And then what was I going to look at next? Augments. So augments, only actual stat buff is the Mermaid's Gem. But I do want to go into here and just check all these. So Bottle Blight has a rate curve in here. And the Puff Attack is its own scene, which has a damage factor, which uses the owner entity 0, negative 90. Custom damage factor is 0.8. Okay. I think that's okay, because it's not like a flat damage amount. Haunted Hatchet. Haunted Hatchet needs to be buffed, which I'm going to add to my changelog. Because somebody mentioned that it was a really cool item and it didn't really do much. Okay, so Haunted Hatchet damage multiplier calculates the damage received, percentage health, and then we do percentage health times damage multiplier, which is 10. On owner damage taken. So we're gonna just... The best way to balance things, in my opinion, is to just overshoot the heck out of them, and then you know kind of the midpoint of where you want to be. So if I go to 30, then we can see how that works. Okay, so Bakunawa Soul. Added damage per soul. This is a damage factor, so we don't need to worry about that because it's a multiplier. The Dota 2-way. I never played Dota. But it is a good... I mean, I heard that first from, like, board games. People who balance card games use that method. And I'm sure game developers do that all the time too. But that's like where I heard it. And I was like, that's honestly not bad. Because if you overshoot it, then you know kind of where is too far to go. And then you just bring it back down a little. Instead of like increasing by 2, increasing by 2, increasing by 2 until you hit something. And then, I don't know. I feel like it makes more sense to just overshoot, average it out. Okay, what do we have here? Crow Cloak. This is a multiplier. Which I also don't like the Crow Cloak because it's not powerful enough. Buffed Crow Cloak. And the way we're going to buff it is by going into the Crow Cloak augment. It has a curve. The curve should just be, what is our point? 0.1 and 0.3. And honestly, I'm looking at this. This is basically linear. We might as well not use a curve for this. So I don't even know if I want to do that. Couldn't I just do like 80% damage, I feel like? We take out the curve, we do const damage factor per stack floats, and then we do equal to 0.8. So we have 80%, and then when we set the stat buff amount multiplier, we set it to damage factor times stack. What is it called? Get stack. Is that it? called like current stack, something like that. Let me check the class. Augment stack. Okay. So if you want a more MH style, make the move speed items rarer. Okay. Movement is kind of a weird thing because I did notice that also the more movement you get, I'm not scaling the friction correctly, so it gets like really slidey. So I think movement is a good area of focus. And I also really like how Risk of Rain, you start out like extremely slow to the point where it's like horrible to move around. And then you kind of have to focus on either going into defensive, offensive, or movement. I feel like those are kind of the three big ones. Because kind of like you kind of start out with so much movement that it's a little crazy. Maybe just reducing the initial movement of the player, because then you would also have the problem of you have to dodge more attacks, you have to be a little more strategic, and the maps would feel bigger, and you'd have to focus on movement items. Let me do that. I'll try that. And I'm going to add it to the to-do so we don't test too many things at the same time. Reduce player movement speed initially. Also, people were saying that the player doesn't scale correctly, which there were a couple things about that. So the difference in your level to enemy levels is the exact same. Like you scale basically the same amount, but it increases with every level you visit. So I think it's a range from like it adds 1 plus the stages visited divided by 2 or something to a random range of how high of levels enemies can be based on your level, and that way enemies get more difficult rather than having swarms of enemies. But I still have the problem of having swarms of enemies, so I think I need to cap it even more and kind of change how the difficulty increases, and also the player gets too much HP as they scale. So we'll fix this quick. We already changed deconsecration. That's okay. Dragon's Tooth. This is the big one. So damage increase factor. I don't think this is a factor, even though I said it was. So we say damage amount is equal to sample curve, damage curve multiplied by factor. And then it's just a direct addend. Also, damage factor isn't even used here. It's just 1.0. So I think I probably did that to test if I could just use a flat increase. And I also like the fact, because initially I was thinking, hey, if you get a ton of dragon's teeth, then the more you get, the less I want the damage increase to be, so that you can't just start one-shotting things. But my damage calculation already takes that into account. Like, it's pretty difficult to one-shot things. So I don't know why I'm doing this fall off here. So I might as well, I think my idea was like, hey, let's just take out the curve. Let's also take out these comments because I don't code like this anymore. Take out the curve, take out the factor, and then just do a new constant. We'll do damage addend per stack. Now, looking at the curve before I save this, we have 1 damage. I'm trying to think of what if I did 10 damage? We'll have to test those too. So then we could say damage amount. And I should also just fix this because we're doing basically the same thing twice. So verify Dragon's Tooth stat buff. If not buff, we create the buff. And then I might as well just call stat buff dot amount addend equals damage addend per stack times augment stack. And then I could call the recalculation from here. And then I could just... Whoops, that was the wrong one. It's Control-Alt. Just delete those. That simplifies things. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't need these comments. It's a bit cleaner. We don't have an export variable now. We don't have a curve to worry about. I'm going to clean up the curves too. What's the spawner logic? Are you using something similar to a coin shop system? Yeah, it is a coin shop, I guess. I called it like a currency system. So here, what am I left on? I'll cover that in a second. I'd want to check one more thing. Gilded Satchel is fine. Illusory Shroom, I think we're using a spore damage curve. Damage factor. Yeah, we're not using flat damage for that. Noxious Roots. So this is one thing I need to do is make parrying more effective, because parrying is based on the damage you receive, but then I increased the defense when you're parrying, so then it reduced the damage you deal. So it's kind of a bad system there, so I need to fix that. Noxious Root Multiplier. Oh, because that's directly dealt from the parry. Okay, Packy Head. Damage factor per stack. Okay, it's perfect. That's a factor. I wish I was just using factors everywhere. Prolific Star Root Fruit's fine. Rogue Core's fine. Spare Feather's fine. Sticky Honey. Okay, so this is all okay, except for this one. So the Tattered Pelts might be flat. So I'm using curves here, which I don't like. We are using multipliers. Perfect. Okay, so I think everything's balanced. I want to do a run through and just make sure. Hey there, I saw you released the game. Thanks. I still use your 3D to pixel method, and it's awesome. How is the sales going? Are you doing a video? I'm going to do a video probably next week covering like how the initial release went. Sales aren't as high as I thought, but I am really happy with the feedback I've gotten, because that'll let me make the game better. Also, I looked at the Steam NDA, and I don't think I'm able to share behind-the-scenes statistics about my Steam page, but I can share the statistics if I'm not displaying it on Steamworks, so I think I have to do it that way. Yeah. All right, let's do a playthrough. I want to test this. Oh, hitbox system, or spawner system, really quick. If 2door is still there. So I have a map spawner module. And this is added to each map. You can define which enemies spawn on the map, obviously. And it works with a wave system. And the waves themselves, this is garbage, don't look at this part. Yeah, this is basically the whole thing. So it increases the wave count. The wave multiplier is used in the amount of currency that it gives initially. So this is kind of what I was working with. I think this was balanced pretty well. And then it gives you the difficulty increase, which is based on the time the run has been going, multiplied by some other stuff. And then it multiplies that by 2 if you're in the final wave. Otherwise, it's just, that's what it is. And then it starts the wave by making a new spawn wave, giving it the currency, and then this is what spends the currency. And if it runs out of currency, or if it runs out of options to spend the currency on, it just refunds the currency back to the main spawner. But this way I just have a node for each wave, which I like because it's easy to keep track of things and not worry about like overlapping code. Pretty simple. Technically, you can't, like so many people do, I don't think they're going to kill you. Wait, what were we talking about? Oh, the Steam thing. Yeah, I'm going to look more into it because someone mentioned that on my video and I was like, oh, shoot. I didn't even think about that. Yo, is there a bot in my chat? Get the heck out of here. What the heck? How do I purge this guy? There we go. Also, I didn't shout out the new member we got. Let me check. Detriox, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. I'm listening to the whatever the game is called, Arknight's Enfield soundtrack, which, holy cow, that game is so good, but I don't have the time to play it. I really like the game, though. Do you have something like the Elite System 2? I do want to do that. So I don't really have Elite monsters yet, but I'm going to do stronger variations. But I think, actually don't know if I took it out. It might be taken out. What I want to have ideally is if there's more currency, they can have like a low chance, 10% or something, to just put a ton of augments on an enemy. That way you would see an enemy be like, oh crap, it has, I don't know, all these like 15 augments, and then you have to strategize a bit more on how you want to fight that specific enemy, because then that gives me variations, like a ton of variations for not even adding much more content, which is something I'm really thankful that I did ahead of time, is like making sure augments work for enemies as well. Also, I think it was Tudor that pointed out the outlines. So, and I didn't notice that, but I think I'm using a different outline color for some of these environment props. So the weapons too, they're like using a blue outline, and I thought it was the same color, but I genuinely... Is it the same color? No, it's definitely not. So I need to fix the outlines. Anyways, I'm going to do a run here, just make sure everything feels the same. Also, how much damage am I doing? 300? That's about 10%. Seems right. I also want to give the rare chests different... Well, the chests are a whole another whole thing. Because they look really ugly because my render lighting wasn't good. So I need to redo the treasure chests, also the player, and then I want different types of chests. So I like having the multi-chest thing. I think that's good, but the interaction system doesn't really work well with multi-chests, so I need to figure that out. And then I also want to have some sort of a chest where you could like pick your augments a bit better. Kind of pick what you're getting. Just adding more like decisions and variety, I think, is good. Oh, also Tudor, if you're still in chat, I know you mentioned the pixel scaling was off. Was that just for the notifications? Because I know those are off right now. Or was there something else? Because like this obviously looks like crap, but... Outline on the walls, trees would also do wonders. I feel like it... Oh, he just did a ton of damage. What the heck? Okay, so now they're scaling. They're scaling a lot. We'll see how it plays. I'm gonna keep playing around with the current balance. Let me get hit by this too. Okay, so that deals a ton of damage. I think the issue is I need to add more defense because the defense and HP aren't like 1-to-1. Ah! Yeah, I just died. Let me add more defense to the player because I want to keep the player's HP at 100. Let's just double it. Double it and give it to the next person. What was I reading? It feels like a lot of like old cartoons where you can clearly see what's going to move. That was kind of my goal with it, was signaling to the player what is interactable or like an entity. But what shortcut do you have to quick open? It's Control P. I think the rule I should do is if something has an outline, it can be interacted with in some way. So even rocks like this, I'd like if you could break them. Chests, you can interact with them. I was thinking also people want the environments to be more interesting, which is valid, because I kind of pushed myself to just make more environments rather than making more interesting environments. So something like this, like if you could break it and then it would topple in that direction, and I could do a 3D render instead so that I could just animate it once and have it, well, yeah, I would have to do different animations, I guess, because it would have to stay the same direction, but something like this, you could topple it, deal damage to enemies. Okay, that feels good, except that's a level 2, I want to get hit by him. Scaling in terms of the entities compared to the environment, like the trees look so small. That was another thing that's just my bad. Whoops, I didn't get hit. So when I was drawing these trees, I didn't have a reference, like something else from my game. So I thought they were a lot bigger. And then I put them in the game and I was like, oh. But what I can do is kind of just stretch things out. So like I could just make this like 2 cells high. I think that would be a good option. Do you think coding with VS Code is better than built-in? Yeah, definitely. I like it 100 times more because you have more plugins, you have better highlighting, you have smooth scrolling, you have better shortcuts, you have a bigger window, you don't have to like do the expand thing. I don't know, I like it a lot more for sure. When you adjusted the player's stats, I'm assuming that that's a resource, and when you push an update to the game, do you use a different resource that is referenced? When I edit stats, every entity has its own stats resource, so yeah, I'm just editing resource values directly. When you push an update to the game to use a different resource, do you mean like when I test the game? Berkling is almost twice as wide from a tree from the walls. Well, that's because of the lore. Trees only turn into barklings when they're fat. I think the best thing to do with the tree scene is increase the heights, add a little more variation to the walls, and then I want to put some like big tree decorations in there. Okay, so this is like a more difficult enemy. Let's see how it... Also, so I like really dumbed the game down and I made it super easy as far as like the amount of damage enemies deal for the update, because I wanted people to be able to play it easily. And I have a feeling I dumbed it down a little too much, because there's always that problem of like I'm the one playing the game all the time, so I'm like the best at it, but I don't know how much better I am than other people. So it's hard to like balance it for others. I mean, I think it's feeling pretty good. I'm doing a lot of damage to these barklings now. Which, should I increase their HP? Maybe the pacing's alright. Oh, that's an issue. Look at this. If I get hit, 1 coin just deals so much health. So let me fix that. Whoops, I suck at parrying. 34. Blocking does 3. Yeah, parrying I think needs to be reworked a little. Okay, so like that did way too much damage. I don't really need to scale things based on the player's HP, right? I see again the problem. Why have a parry or charge attack if not used? Yeah, that's what I'm... But I'm trying to think though, because the same issue is in Monster Hunter. And I'm wondering if there's a good way to solve it. Because Monster Hunter, you see just everyone ends up using longsword, dual blades, or like a faster weapon. It's so rare to see someone using greatsword. And even if they did, no one uses true charge slash ever. Unless the monster's in a trap or like asleep or something like that. So maybe it's just a bad mechanic for fast-paced games. Like I'm not sure if there's a good way to solve it. Because ideally you'd want to use it when you have enough time to charge, and it would be a lot more rewarding than a normal charge or than a normal slash. So maybe I just increase the difference, just make it even more powerful. Or, okay, I got an idea. What about this? What about if I do regular slashes, it's more knockback, but less damage. And then if I do a charge, it's less knockback, but a ton of damage. So then your cycle for using a greatsword would be more like slashing to knock enemies into charge range, where you could kind of roll back and do a charge. That might be the option. But really quick, I want to reduce the player's damage to 10. The player's also getting hit too hard, so I want to look at my curves. So we have the damage curve. Level 2 would give us somewhere around here. I feel like if you can parry and it stuns an enemy, the charge becomes useful. Okay, so that would kind of be another branch of like the core mechanics for a greatsword. So you could say like, all right, here's the game plan. You slash to knock back enemies. If they get in close enough to do an attack, you would parry, which would stun and set you up for a charge. If you knock them back enough, you can also be set up for a charge. I feel like that would work. I'm going to add that to my notes. What is it? Parry? Oh, no, I have a greatsword note. So we should say parry stuns, slashes do less knockback, charge hits harder. I'm also going to go into my spawner. It's wherever I set the experience. Here it is. Experience equals global run data multiplier, get experience, randi range 1 + 1, 0. Wait. Stages visited times. Let's do 0.3. And then I want to make those adjustments right now. I think I might need to just change the stat curves in general. Or have different stat curves for enemies as well. Because I think the player's HP is scaling too quickly, but the enemy's HP should scale quickly, which I like. So we'll go into the Greatsword. We have my basic slash, which should be downward slash here. Has a hitbox data, so we're going to double the knockback for upward slash too. And then we'll do for charge slash, let's do maybe hitting a bit harder. We'll do 3, or we'll do 4. 3.8, we have to do 3.8. Because it gives buffs too. You can also do different combos. Instead of swing left, swing right, the 5th swipe becomes an overhead heavy attack. Well, that's an issue with... I don't know how I would animate that. It's kind of an issue with, like, having the weapon floating like this. Let's use the... because I know this has... well, I want one with less knockback, because I have to reduce the knockback on the other two. You know what? Let's do this the easy way. Default. Oh, no, we can't do it that way, because I'm not in a... There we go. This isn't right, whereas the make Ubisoft clone and make multiplayer button. What? Classic. Should I reduce the damage on this attack? So we're looking at 22, 25. 199 would be, what, 8? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So a charge slash is a lot more prominent now. Like, there's actually a reason to do it. Now, the other thing that I don't think anybody noticed this, but charges give you a buff, and people will notice this when I add buff icons, because that's something I need to do, is like buffs and debuffs should have icons so you know what's going on. Your charge levels give you a temporary buff. So if I do this, hit him with a charge, I now have a buff for like another second. So technically it's optimal to do this and then hit him with higher damage like that. Which I kind of like. It's a little bit of a... not an oversight with my system, but the way my system works, it's easier to just do a timed buff rather than manually freeing it. Well, I guess it's the same thing, but I do like how it works. I also really like the Mermaid's Gem, but I was thinking of enhancing it further, because right now it's just every third evade, you go really far. I could say, like, when you have the Mermaid's Gem skill available, it would do like some little water effect around your feet or something like that. And then I could say, well, you have that water effect active, you get some sort of an other benefit. Because then it would force you to make a decision of like, do I want to keep my benefits from having the effect available, or do I want to use the effect? And then you'd also be dodging more when you don't have the effect, which would be using your stamina, which is another decision. So I think that would be a good idea. And I don't think I added to my notes, so I have to do that. What is it? Mermaid's Gem should have effect well skill is available. Oh, I don't have any enemies left. So I think even increase the knockback further on the greatsword by default. What did I also say? Reduce the player speed. The player is moving really fast right now already. Like I can easily run alongside guys. So let's do that because I want to see how it works. Player default stats. Base movement max speed. We'll put it down to 150. Was that 200? That seems like the same. Is the player just in here? Ah, that's what's going on. I should be using a spawn point for that. I also need a different animation. I think that honestly might be good first try. Loading screen is also essential. Okay, so this feels a little more heavy. This might be it. Just making the player slower might honestly do a lot. Because I already feel a bit more restricted. The fading shader, that was actually a shader from Godot Shaders website. And I just tweaked it so that it's radial instead of like a wipe. Do you guys think this is too slow or too fast? So I want to go in either one direction or the other. I think maybe slowing it down even further. I want to thank you for all the YouTube tutorials. Hope your deving is going well. Thank you. Yeah, always happy to help people out with tutorials. Glad they're useful. Yeah, a bit slower. Because the goal, like the direction I really want to push it in is I want you to start out very, very weak. Because there are movement speed items. Like movement is a kind of a skill tree you can go into. That makes sense, yeah. Let's reduce it more. Let's do player default stats, movement max speed, we'll say. Let's go crazy. Let's do 110. We'll see how this feels. Using that overshoot technique. This might be too slow. Classic YouTube. I think this is going to be too slow, but it might be good. The only thing I don't like about it being this slow is the animation looks horrible. I don't know. This is too slow. This is definitely too slow. Let's bump it up a little. I think 130 will be good. Yo, how's it going, Artem? Haven't seen you in a while. I do like the fact that the beginning of the run will feel boring, because I really like honestly, I love the aspect of Risk of Rain. When you start out playing Risk of Rain, you're like, man, my character sucks. This game sucks. And then as you realize like how crazy your builds can get, you kind of just live with it. Oh, I wanted a greatsword. Also, I'm playing with the idea of adding another button to combos, because why the combos are so like linear is I didn't know how to do a double click input versus a hold to charge input. So like I think here being able to just go into slash rather than doing 3 strikes and then going into slash would be good. And then having you hold down right click to go into power guard, I would like that a lot more. I just need to think about how to actually code it, because I would need to like wait a few frames and then register if that's a hold versus a double click or just a regular click. I don't know what the what am I trying to say? Like the window would be. Now the other thing is with a lance, they're kind of about movement, and I do like keeping this movement thing here. But maybe I reduce the movement even more, because another buff I want to add is boosting while you're attacking. And now these projectiles feel a lot more prominent, which is good. Let's reduce this quick just because I want to. The lance script. So whenever you do a lance boost, we want to multiply it by consecutive stabs. Wait, amount times consecutive stabs that we clamp. Amount, what is amount? Where does amount come from? Max boost I'm going to reduce to 450. Amount comes from the animation track. So where's our function here? Reduce this to 45. Risk of Rain or Rain... Oh, Risk of Rain 2, obviously. I don't really like the original Risk of Rain. Just because I started with Risk of Rain 2, so it's like not as much my style. You want everything with mouse 1? No, I want mouse 1 and mouse 2, like left and mouse click. If that's what you're talking about. Risk of Rain 1, I feel like I die way more quickly. Like I can never loop the run. Okay, that still dealt 0. Why is my parry dealing 0? The defense isn't that high, is it? Parry buff is too much. But should parries completely negate the parry on mouse 1 and... Okay, so that's another thing. How do I... Because does Godot have a way to just detect double inputs like that? Or would I have to actually make a logging system and say, hey, if you click mouse 1 and mouse 2 within X amount of frames, that counts as the trigger? Also, this needs more knockback. Oh, you know what else? Adding more knockback to the slashes might just be a good option. Because then they're getting out of range and you can't deal as much damage damage as quickly, so it's pushing you further into wanting to do a charge attack. I think the main thing is just pushing people to want to use the entire skill kit of a weapon. Go should be able to take double inputs. I don't think it can take a double input per se, because that doesn't really exist. Does it? Like 2 inputs on the same frame? I mean, it should, right? I don't think Godot can do that. Do you have a save with high-leveled player or not yet? Not yet. How I've kind of been doing it is balancing out the early game up to like stage 9. But I will have to balance out the late game more. Using the guide add-on for inputs for a while now. I have never heard of that. Wait, send a link in Discord, because I definitely want to check that out. Base knockback. Let's put this to 200. See how this looks. Please give me a sword. Yes. I guess I could also just start spawning into the dark woods, but I don't think it triggers my time-based scaling, so I'm on my keyboard. Also got to take a break here in a second to grab some food and water. Is that too much knockback? Like, should that be added with augments? Mermaid's Gem is also multiplicative, so I think it still feels alright. I think it's a bit too much knockback. Yeah, that's too much. Let's do 150, and then we'll check the knockback of the other swords. Oh wait, this is buffs I'm looking at. Where's items? $200 is probably the most I want to go. And that would be for the 2 rare weapons. Feels good, but I don't know all the gameplay intricacies. If you want to check out the game, it's like $5 on Steam if you want to start playtesting. I'm going to push this update soon. But I'm trying to get as much feedback as possible if you want to do that. I think it should be an augment. That makes it super easy. What about this? I adjusted the knockback, then we go to Greatsword base, we go to the attacks. I want to keep almost the same, so let's do 1.5 knockback factor, and then I can work with percentages here. And then the charge slash should actually have some decent knockback, like 3. Now we also have a stab attack. Stab attack is technically part of the Greatsword, but I took it out for the early access. And that was because of the parry system. I changed it a little bit. So I think what it should be is slashing with left click, stabbing with right click, hold right click to parry and block, and charge out of right click, and then all I need is some sort of combo with clicking so that you could only do like maybe 5. Let me load into the woods directly. Whoops. Maybe you could only do 5 attacks, then it would do like a spin attack or something like that. And then you couldn't just keep spamming. I need to have a save system override so that I can test specific weapons. I think I'm going to work on that tonight. And also something I was mentioning in my Discord, the map generation system for Godot recalculates every single terrain tile. Let me see if I can get a greatsword here. Might as well just do this. How do you use multi-instancing on this project? Do you mean like just instantiating multiple scenes? Or, oh, do I use multi-instancing? Do you mean like multiple instances of the application, or multi-threading? I'm not familiar with that term. Also, another thing Tudor mentioned was the vector graphics, which I do like mixing pixel art with vector if it's done right. So I think like the I mean, it's too high resolution, but I think maybe putting like a super small pixel filter on like this smoke, and then for these I want to smooth out the curve and make it pixelated a little bit. Should be good. Oh. Hit him with the deconsecration. Yeah, multiple instances like your enemies. I just instantiate them. Why am I not loading with a sword? What's going on? There we go. I just instantiate them with like a spawner, and the only thing I differentiate between the two is their unique stats. I was looking at the most recent... Oh my gosh. The most recent Godot build, because I think we're in beta 1 now. And I was going to make a video covering it, but it was like all the stuff I've covered in my previous dev builds. It was just compiled into a beta build post. So there were only like 2 new things, and I didn't want to just copy everything. But I guess I'll have to wait for a beta 2 build to do another video. Okay, so if I get hit here... How much damage am I taking? I think that's good. For terrain, why don't you do semi-pre-made maps like in Risk of Rain 2, like a main path with 5 or 6 nodes that are randomly enabled, so it has some variation. I like that idea. Or even just going the other way, like generating the map and then inserting templates in places to override tiles. But that's just a limitation of my Terration plugin right now. But I will be making... I mean, the maps are obviously a big place for improvement, so they're going to be more complex and more intricate. What am I trying to say? Intricate? intricate. That's what I'm trying to say. I just totally blanked. More intricate and more like events on the maps. I also want to have unique events and stuff that inserts like more decision making. I was looking into this node. It seems useful for large quantities of enemies. It helps optimize them manually. Wait, what node is it? Dev 3 had feature lock. Beta won't bring new features if I understand correctly. Oh yeah, so what do they usually add in betas? I feel like every now and then, well honestly, don't betas usually get new features either way? They're like, well, we made a last minute decision and I feel like that's happened a few times. Otherwise, even just bug fixes are good. I mean, I'm super excited for a lot of the animation track stuff because the animation editor is still so behind. Oh, that's something I need to balance is the prolific starfruit. I don't know. I like this a lot more. I mean, I have to take a break in a second, but I'll be right back. What I really like right now is that combat feels more impactful. It's slowed down a little bit, which increases the amount of decisions you have to make slightly. But it feels more impactful because I'm not just dealing arbitrary amounts of numbers. Like I'm dealing around 20 a hit. So I want to see how this scales like towards the end game. Multi-mesh instance 2D, it's nice to draw details, but you need to write your own. Yeah, that's kind of my issue with using that is it's so much more convenient to just do regular scene instantiation. Oh, that guy dealt a lot. Okay, so that was a crit, so maybe I don't keep that in. I don't know. Because like my game isn't unoptimized right now. So I don't really need to think about that. But I think if it was unoptimized, I would definitely use that. I just hit him with a 6. I think that was my mushroom. I don't know, it feels, the combat feels a bit better. It still needs some work though. I think adding more to the Greatsword toolkit is really going to help. Am I using navigation agents? Yes. But they're on, I mean, they're on an insane timer. So enemies only navigate like once every 0.8 seconds or something. I mean, it's different for enemies because I think for Akiesto, he needs to navigate more often when he's doing his run. Otherwise, the targeting doesn't work properly. I know they lag a lot, depending, even if you have like 50 of them. I think, yeah, as it gets to swarms, I think my game would definitely has an issue. But that's the thing I want to reduce. I don't like having swarms of enemies in this game. I want you to have more like 1-on-1 or 1-on-4 fights. What do you say needs more work as a priority? Biggest priority is making the combat feel interesting enough to where it doesn't get boring, because that's the main part of the game. So I need to make sure the combat is like really tight. And I think it's getting there. I mean, the work I did today really added to that. Does this guy have a... No, he doesn't have a mushroom. That was my mushroom. Because it feels more like I'm actually thinking about what I want to do. And it's the same basic system, but I'm like actually making an effort to dodge attacks now, which I like. But I also don't want it to be too difficult for new players to enter, which is what it was before I balanced it before early access, so. I think I also need to nerf Sticky Honey. Sticky Honey's really good. Let's nerf the Starfruit quick. Because it's healing you 16 per coin. And it should be healing you 1 per coin. Because the HP is so much lower now. I think, honestly, HP was at 1500, so I think divided by 10... or whatever it was, divided by 15. It's about correct. With the combat style, I think enemies in packs of 4 to 8 would feel great. You could have elite packs too, which spawn 1 elite plus minor mobs, and these could even have tags such as... I like that idea, like having the elite like groups and tags like that. Also, yeah, elements. That's a big thing I want to explore because I want weapons to be more unique than just having different damage values and stuff like that. So I want weapons to... I want you to collect weapons, like have to buy them, and then you just own them. And I want you to have to kind of choose which weapon you want to use. And honestly, that might be just a good direction to go. Like, what if I said, hey, weapons always have around the same numerical values, because then you won't always be choosing a rare weapon, but they have different skills and effects that they do. I think that's the best, because I've been thinking about that a lot. I think that's the best direction to go. Even though it's a lot of work, but I think it's the kind of work that needs to happen. Because right now I have 5 weapons per class. Yeah, not just damage defining. Because I want to have about 20 plus weapon classes so that it's really like choosing your play style. But then on top of that, each weapon, I think, would have like different hit effects or some reason to use it, or maybe like a different ultimate that you could activate. I don't feel any difference between the same class weapons. Yeah, that's what a few people said. And it was something that I kind of added last second, was like the rarities and that like gambling system between runs. And it's literally just based on damage right now. It's damage, knockback, and crit. That's the only difference. And the visuals. So I'm thinking, like, what if I said... Because also, if you come into a run with a weapon that one-shots Sparklings, or even does 50% more damage than the Driftwood here, that's crazy OP. Like, that's insane. That's like starting with 4 Dragon's Tooth or whatever. So maybe I just give them, like, extremely similar damage values. I think that's the play. But it's really cool. Like, I mean, it really sucks to put a game out there and have it have so many problems that I like didn't even notice. But that's what I'm enjoying about this, is other game developers are seeing it now. And initially I was just showing friends and, you know, family members, which they are not game developers, so they didn't notice these kinds of things. The trees get to match the player. The trees get to need... Oh, wait. The trees need to match the player's animation style. Are you saying they don't match the player's animation style? Because I do want to redo the player, because if you guys will notice, if you're running in some directions, you can see the wrong color. And it's because I'm not separating the materials, so I need to redo the player render. I feel like instead of different rarities, something like a forge location to build or upgrades. Well, that's what I have planned, and this will be the next update of the game. Will have this, but I want to have a base lobby, and in that lobby will be kind of like your preparation between runs, and I want it to feel like Monster Hunter hubs because I love that feeling. In between runs, yes, I think having something where you could forge or purchase weapons or even make modifications to weapons. I was playing around with the idea of some way to attach augments to weapons instead of the player and having them do different effects. But something like that, also having the ability to like order meals or something, kind of like in Monster Hunter, or like drink with your friends, like juice or something. I don't know, something that gives you buffs or changes how the run works a little. But yeah, in the lobby you'd have some preparation zones. The merchant would have like its own area that you could have like a full-on shop, and you could buy other things in addition to weapons. Okay, Bakunawa is dealing too much damage. Sounds like Gunfire Reborn. Each weapon is unique for combat, but all the augments change how powerful the guns are. Graphics tricked my eye. I thought the rotations were smooth, but it's static. Yeah, they're all 8 direction static. Unless you're talking about the weapon. The weapon's smooth because I don't know. It is. All right, Bakunawa. Let's see what's going on here. Spit attack has 0.8 damage factor. Also, I want Bakunawa to have a close range like claw attack, but that's just the more content thing. I'm going to be adding more attacks and more behavioral differences between enemies. Is it just the damage? Is that what's going on here? What is their damage? Stats. Base damage is 42. Crit rate should be a little less, maybe. I was thinking about that two-door. I think just removing crits for enemies might be the play. I'm going to think about it more tonight, but I think I'm going to just go with that. Okay, so base damage. What do Barklings have for damage? 30. Bakunawa shouldn't be that much different then, right? What's Akiesto at? I also haven't fought an Akiesto since I balanced this, so we'll need to do that in a second. Oh, Akiesto's at 35. Okay, yeah, Bakunawa needs to be lowered to 30. I think that's all I need to balance for now. I also forgot to keep writing down the changes I made, but I'll put like the overall changes, I think. The timing for this is also broken. I'm going to balance the lance after I take a break. But let's do a quick run. I need to have like developer mode for this kind of stuff. I just keep reloading. Oh my gosh. Give me a sword. There we go. I just want to test out this weapon. Alright, this is the run, guys. I'm going to do my most efficient run and just see what I need to change, then we'll come back and change it all. Charging seems a lot better. I like it. I don't know, what do you guys think? I feel like I'm going to be using charging more. Obviously not for these enemies, because I can kind of just do that. But like, these guys are pretty tanky. So naturally, I feel like I can fit a charge in there, and it does a lot more. Yeah, I like it. I think it would have been better for me to do a charge there. Or at least a level 2 charge. Let's pick up the Rogue Core. You combine both start and stop to F5. Oh, can you? I have never checked that. Because I always do F8 to stop. I think start is F9, right? Or is F5. I'm trying to think of other areas I could talk about right now. Because a lot of people left feedback. Well, not a lot, but I got good feedback. Making enemies faster, I kind of solved this with making the players slower. More interactive map, I talked about that. Make weapon combos, I talked about that. Make all augments more meaningful. So that's a big one. Oh, let's test his damage. Oh, that's better. That's perfect. Making augments like more meaningful. And I think the big ones are like Mermaid's Gem. Doesn't have enough decision making when using it. And also I think the Rogue Core should do something when it's not active. You've seen it in... Wait a minute. Is it in like a Dough Tips video? Oh, wait, the 50... Are you talking about the one that was made by Chiaro? What's his name? He's like that red icon, that little like blob or whatever. By augments, I'm talking about like the items. Just some of them don't do enough. So I already buffed I nerfed Deconsecration, and I buffed Crow Cloak and Haunted Hatchet. I think the other ones that need buffs are Tattered Pelt, which increases defense. It needs to do more defense. Because being tanky is something I want you to be able to go into as like a skill tree. Okay, Packy Head might need to be buffed as well, because I forgot it was based on just the player's damage. But also, so this is a really interesting thing that I love about Eavor. The Packy Head, it turns your roll into an attack. And the way I set it up is attacks can proc effects. So if you have an effect that like an on-hit effect or an effect that spawns like Bottle Blight or whatever, it can be procced by rolling. So you essentially get double effects if you keep rolling into the enemy. And I think it's a really overpowered combination, but I really like it. Change color chests. That's on the to-do. I actually don't have it as a card yet, but that is on the to-do in my mind. Cool. Make it a high priority because I do want that added. I was playing a bunch on Synderia, also in early access, and I had some fun passives like adding extra moves in the combo. I wonder if I could fit something like that into Eavor. So, one thing I really liked about how my weapon system was, and this is like the first weapon system I had in Eavor, was every like attack you did was an animation, and I basically had a list of animations, and it wasn't cool because you couldn't chain into different animations. There was like no combos. It was just one combo. But with that, I could have different attack setups for different weapons. So like I could say this one goes slash slash stab, uppercut, something like that. And with a system like that, what I could do is allow you to customize how your weapon worked, because you could just swap out the components. And I wonder if I could do a similar approach, but with my current weapon system, because it's a little more complex because I have states and like transitions. But that is a really cool idea. Okay, I like this because I'm making more decisions in combat. It's still not enough, though. I still need to keep pushing in this direction. I also want an option for, like, what happens if you don't want to pick up an augment. Like, what can you do then? Also, do you think the slashes are too quick? That might be it. Like, I'm able to attack too quickly, and that's why the difference in choosing between a slash and a charge attack is so great. Like, if I just slow down the animations a bit, might be worth it. Replacing the hilt will make the last attack do a 360 or something. So more of like having like parts that I would design for weapons. So you could say like a skill tree for weapons kind of thing. Which would require me to make more swappable states, but I think that would be kind of cool. That also kind of goes into, well, actually, Monster Hunter Rise did that too. Okay, what was this? A 7-minute run, and I died on stage 4. And I dealt 6,000 damage. That's a lot more realistic. So, enemies were level 4. I was level 2. I wasn't scaling quick enough. I'm going to take out this for now. I'm going to reduce this a lot, so you aren't fighting enemies that are super high level compared to yours. And what was I saying? Maybe should I decrease the cost of... Where are my enemies? Here we go. Barklings are 25, Birch Barklings are 50, Akiesta's 500, Bakunawa's 120. I want to have Bakunawa a little bit cheaper, so we'll go to 100. And then Akiesto is going to be pretty difficult, so maybe I do like events or spawn a more expensive entity when a wave starts. You have like 30 capacity to build your base weapon, and it raises while you place. You find a forge you can upgrade. Yeah, I really like that idea, Tudor. Except I'm trying to think of how I code it now. GD on VS Code, I have a video on that. It's one of the most popular videos on my channel if you sort by popularity. Oh, why? I thought you said how. Why I do it is because I get more more shortcuts, more plugins, more themes more easily, and smooth scrolling. I think the Godot editor still doesn't have smooth scrolling. and built-in Git commands. I like it a lot more. I think I'm going to be working on the game all week, and then I'll probably push the first update at the end of the week so that you guys can try it out if you want. You're saying earlier if you were to redo this project, you would choose 3D. Yes. So if I make a second game in a few years for Eavor, I'm definitely going 3D because I can animate weapons better. So rather than just having like a top-down view with the sprite moving around, I could actually do a 3D weapon and then have different angles I could project it in, which I could technically still do with like a shader, but it would just be a lot easier. Enemies as well are kind of locked to their palette, which I kind of like, but I also like the idea of having scenes with different lighting. Because in 2D right now, yeah, I can do different lighting, but I would have to use normal maps to make it look really cool, and having the layers and like shadows cast on the walls is really annoying to set up. So 3D just makes my life way easier. It would also fix this issue, which I still don't know how I want to solve it. But if I'm Y sorting above the chest, my character's above the chest, my weapon is a child of the character. But if I go underneath the chest, like, okay, I didn't explain that right. If I'm underneath the chest, I should be in front of the chest, right? And my weapon does that as well. Which is good, but if I go above the chest, my weapon is under the chest when I do this. And I could solve that with either having the weapon have its own z-index independent from the player, or, I mean, that wouldn't work for things like this, where I should technically have the weapon under the mushroom. And I could clip the weapon, like say it just doesn't draw because it's technically on the ground, but then physically that doesn't really make sense. So I think I have to kind of keep the bug there. I don't really know a way to fix it. You can keep specific upgrades for specific parts, like the hilt will always change the combo, while blades trade between damage and usability. I'm also wondering if I should, because if I have like swappable parts, then I need art for them, and I don't know if I want to swap out the art of physical assets, because it would be cool if the hilt that you choose, if it was a legendary hilt, if you actually saw it in the game. So I like this combat a lot more. So maybe I just don't even try doing like swappable parts, instead just do a basic skill tree. And then I would like name the skills so it's actually interesting game design, I guess. I'm trying to think. So your aspects would be like attack speed, damage. I probably wouldn't put crit rate in there. And then I could do like a few different end of combo skills that you could swap out, and also maybe having a couple different types of charges, or one you charge like slower and deal more damage, or one you charge quicker and like move further and deal less damage. Fix on area chest. Entered, make the sword a child of something else. Well, I don't need to make it a child of something else because I can just change the draw order. It's just like figuring out what would the draw order even look like. Like, where would the weapon be if I was in this position? Would it just be, like, cut off here? Because I'm not sure. Oh, I should buy some chests quick. I'm getting a lot of yellow items. It's kind of weird. Yes, the difficulty is tied to time, which, because of all the balancing I did today, that's probably broken. So the further you go, the more currency the map has to spend on enemies, the more difficult they get. Stuff like that. Items are not enough right now to make... Like, there aren't enough items, or they aren't doing enough. I mean, I think both, right? What I'd like to do is add more items, but I also want each item to be more effective. Because I think... How many items do you have? I think I have 20. Something like that. And I would like to have, like, 50. And luckily, items are really easy to add, so... I have, like, 10 ideas that I want to add this week. You don't want it to draw on front? No. Well, I do for some things. So, like, a chest, I'd want it to draw on front. But the altar, it's the same height. I don't know where I'd want it. This tree, I'd obviously not want it to draw in front. So it's kind of a difficult issue to solve. But if I make it only for chests, then it's like the issue's half solved. Which might be okay. But I want to solve it for like everything. Walls and every type of object. That was my bad. Well, I could do that. Like, if I made a class, yeah, I could technically put the logic on every type of object, but, like, I'm just trying to figure out what it would even look like. So if anyone has an idea on, like, that, what you could do is just clip the weapon from the bottom of... Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, that was my really only thought. But would that look even more weird? Because it would fix the, like, visual jarringness, I guess. But, like, let's say you have a lance. If you move into a rock, would your lance just be gone here? Would that look okay? Because I guess in this case, you'd want it to appear above. But in this case, your lance should just be, like, gone. But then that would look so weird when you rotate out, because then it would just appear. Oh, I didn't test the lance boosting either. Let's see what the max boost we can get is. Honestly, first try. Just make weapons invisible, problem solved. Also, I feel like the spin attack needs to deal more damage. One feature I love, but I don't see any games who done, are the inscriptions from Skull. You have 9 items with 2 inscriptions each. The more inscriptions on the same type, the more powerful it becomes. I think I understand what that means. I'll need to play it. Does it sound similar to an idea I have for this game that I really want to add is the more you stack items, the more differently they would behave. So I'm thinking like, let's say once you reached 10 of a specific augment, it would unlock another aspect of it, or like convert into a more powerful version of the item. because that would give you more reason to like go further into specific builds. Maybe add a height value to objects, as in this thing is tall, so weapons wouldn't be visible over it. I might do a clipping thing like that. Maybe that's just the way to go. You change the weapons look to magic. Okay, so that was another option. I wasn't thinking about it in terms of like layering, but I initially had like a little aura effect that played at the handle of the weapon to show that you were like magically suspending it. And that made the animations look a lot better. Which, by the way, player animations is a whole nother thing I need to like figure out, because I want to have the player like moving their arms and walking correctly, because they only ever run animation right now. But maybe I could do something like that. I'm not sure. Otherwise, it's like no one really complained about it so far, and I don't think it's super important because everyone understands that it's a 2D game. Yeah, exactly. It's already magically suspended. Will you make a video talking about the business side of publishing and game on Steam, like making a company? I'm not sure. I did make a company like a while ago for game dev stuff, but I think 9 times out of 10 you'd probably want to make a company if you're serious about game development. I don't know. There's not a lot to talk about in those terms too, because it's also specific to my state. I'm not sure how much like advice I could share, and I also don't know anything about that kind of stuff. So, but I do want to share the Steam side of things for sure. When I used the same weapon style for a jam, I just hid the weapon when not used for a bit. Ooh, that's another idea. That would also indirectly prevent people from doing this, which is like a visual thing I don't like. Because you can't really do it while you're using your weapon, because it rotates slower. What are our thoughts on the lance for people who actually played Eavor so far? What are your thoughts on the lance weapon? Is it different enough from the greatsword? Also, my heals are still too much. I think I have them. Or actually, maybe I'll cut them in a third. No, I'll just have it. I'm trying to think now, like how many times you'd actually go into prolific starfruit. I'm thinking a lot more about positioning now, though, during combat, which is good. Feels more strategic, but there are too many enemies right now. Okay, what stage am I in? Stage 2? 5 minutes in, too many enemies. Has too much currency. Okay, spawning is something I'll have to balance after I balance the weapons and augments more, because spawning's easy to balance. I'm gonna pick up the game when I get home. Do you have a way to give you input? Yes. First of all, thank you for being willing to try it out. Second of all, if you're not in the Discord, Discord's linked everywhere. I could send the link if you need to. But there are channels specifically for, like, if you want to make a post and share your feedback, or if you just want to suggest features, there's, like, a way to do that. Also, no one's used it yet, but if in the Discord channel, if you type, actually, I could show it, because I have, let me pull this up. So if you go to report a bug or suggest a feature, you can use these commands with codecs, and it'll just insert it directly onto my to-do list. So I have like a whole folder on my to-do program that's Discord bug reports and feature suggestions. So that's like probably the best way for me to actually see it. It's different, but I don't like it. It's annoying to not be able to parry when I want, spin when I want. Oh yeah, I guess parrying, because you'd want to be able to just parry at any time. I'll think about it. I've been wanting to take a break for like an hour now. I need to take a break quick. I also didn't realize what time it is. Maybe I should just end the stream. I have a lot of stuff to think about tonight at work. That's why I said I want more buttons to press. I think that's the way to go. I mean, obviously I want to make the weapons more complicated. I want each weapon to have probably like, I'm trying to think like realistic, like 8 to 10 different attacks you can do. And I want it to be a combination of left click, right click, click together, and holding either left or right click. And then another thing to think about is abilities, which I'm playing around with the idea of attaching abilities to specific weapons. Part of that skill tree thing we were kind of talking about is like, what if an ability was just something you could activate anytime without worrying about your combo status? Kind of like an ultimate or whatever. And then that's when you could have more like meaningful attacks that you would charge up. And you could swap out for different weapons. Behave. Behave's awesome. I love it. It's so nice to use. I love the structure. Everyone, I mean, a lot of people prefer Limbo AI over Behave because Limbo's more optimized, but Limbo, you have to compile Godot yourself or something. Because it's not just like a drag and drop plugin. So I like the fact that Behave is easier to work with, and it's nodes, which is okay, but also it's easier to work with because it's nodes. It just really clutters your scene tree. Yeah, it's really good. Yes, this game has been in development for years, but when I say years, I mean like the first year I probably put 20 hours into it because I was working on so many other things. So the game was started years ago. Development hasn't even been that much because I don't have time in life. Attaching abilities to weapons gives New World vibes, which I enjoy. Oh, I forgot about New World. I wish New World didn't end in the state it was in. I forgot to make a branch for this these changes. So I'm going to keep all of the changes in mind and just push. And I will have to wait to do a Mac build, I just realized, because I don't have a separate branch. That's okay. This update will come out at the end of the week. We'll call it Update 1. Do you think as long as you keep your vision... Wait. Oh, do what you think, as long as you keep your vision. You're an MH hater? No, bro. You can't hate Monster Hunter, bro. Can't you make a branch and bring changes over? Yes, I just don't know the commands off the top of my head. Because I suck with Git. But that's okay. It's not like I'm going to be reverting anything, or there's no bug fixes I have to do on the main branch anyways, so this is fine. It's a fine place to leave the game in. So, balancing parries is essential. Balancing, I mean, that comes with the blocking buffs. I think I want to stun enemies when you get a parry. I think that'll add a lot to combat. Yeah, I think it's in a good state. I'm going to actually just end the stream because I got some more stuff to do before work. But got a lot of stuff fixed. The game's feeling a lot better, but I still want to add a lot more. So we'll keep working on it. I guess that's the point of having it in early access, is I can change things before the full release. I'm out of here. Good luck on the update. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, yo, what's up, David? How's it going? Oh. So yeah, I'll be streaming again Wednesday if you guys want to stop by then too. Wednesday morning, maybe Thursday as well. Thanks to everyone who stopped by. If you want to pick up the game is in a completely different state than what you saw today, but it's on Steam. Like the live build. So if you want to pick it up, leave feedback. I would absolutely be extremely thankful for whoever did that. Let me know your thoughts in the Discord if you do play it. And thank you to everyone who did pick it up. Oh, Danny, you're still here. How's it going? Yeah, I'll be streaming again on Wednesday, but all right. Adios. Have a great week, everyone. New video drops this weekend too, if you guys are looking forward to that. But see ya.